until January. As a league, we should stand up and support him. Seriously. I mean, with the work that this man has put in, it doesn't bother me at all. And so I know he's not going to do that. That's why he showed up there last night. He's going to be ready for opening night, at least to some capacity. But I think that if the Lakers do start off, I'm not concerned at all, because not only are they great, they're experienced. So when you look at LeBron James, I think that this is one of the rare breeds that has graduated to the point where he doesn't even need to be questioned about anything that's taking place in the regular season. Everything about him should be measured by postseason play. If this guy decides to take his foot off the gas, if he decides when to amp it up, whatever the case may be, you defer to his judgment. When you've been to 10 NBA Finals, when you've won 4 championships, and when we just finished experienced a global pandemic, the likes of which we hadn't seen for a century, and somehow, some way, when we consider the collapse that we witnessed with the Los Angeles Clippers because of them being devoid of leadership and what have you, although it was nice to see Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Kimmel last night. Bottom line is that LeBron James and the Lakers didn't have that problem. And so I don't think there's anything to be worried about with the Lakers, a slow start or anything like that, because they have the greatness of Anthony Davis, who's one of the top 3 players in the world, and they have the best player in the world, who's the best leader in basketball, and that man is LeBron James. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about.
I don't know what's happening today, but for the second straight segment, I don't know maybe I have a fever or something. I don't know. I'm coming down with something. I agree with Stephen A. I agree, maybe for slightly different reasons, but right on. I'm not worried about the Lakers' slow start at all. Stephen A., let's be honest. The LeBron James teams of the past have often started slow, right? Miami had a slow start at one year. Cleveland had some slow starts. Davis came on First Take and told us he challenged LeBron to set the tone on defense. And I think AD was probably right last year, like with a new group of guys and this superstar combination. It's important for your best player to set that tone. And for a lot of the season, LeBron did play better regular season defense than he had in years. But given his age and his mileage, it's, I think, not responsible even to expect him to play defense, for example, all regular season. And sometimes the other guys on the team, even if AD's setting that example, slack off a little bit too when their leader doesn't do it, although Montrezl Harrell plays some defense, some other guys will too. The point is, LeBron knows how to pace himself and knows his body. How do I get to be in the playoffs where when I need to put the pedal to the metal, I still got something in the tank? He's usually done that in the past. This past season, he basically kept the pedal to the metal all year. But I wouldn't even recommend that he does that again. He's signed up for multiple years. He needs to pace himself so he's ready to go when they need him most. And if the Lakers get off to a slow start while LeBron's figuring it all out, no big deal, because when the lights are brightest, he'll show up.
Well, I'm not worried about the Lakers at all. Matter of fact, the only thing I'm worried about is the Lakers coming out and dominating the league. Because when you look at this roster, in my opinion, this is the best roster on paper that LeBron James has had in the last 4 years. And no disrespect to last year's championship team, but when you look at the additions that Rob Pelinka made, I'm looking at this, and LeBron can pace himself. He can take games off and do load management because they have weapons. They have guys that could come in and get the job done and deliver in great fashion. And when I say that, I'm looking at a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who's capable in the regular season, especially is capable of going for 30 plus a night. You got Montrezl Harrell, another guy that's capable of giving you 20 a night if LeBron just decides not to play that night. And then you have Anthony Davis, along with Wes Matthews, along with Marc Gasol, along with Taylor Horton Tucker, who keeps thriving, and even Kyle Kuzma. Although I disagree with his style of play at times, although I disagree with Kyle Kuzma at times on how he plays the game of basketball, one thing about it, when he gets hot, he gets hot. So with the Lakers roster, job well done by Rob Pelinka, I'm worried about them coming out and dominating too early.
Oh, I'm sorry, Max, you did. No, I was going to. I'm sorry, Max. I thought you was
No,
going to
I
go.
mean,
but
I- like,
go.
listen,
Jump in,
I'm not
Stephen
worried.
A.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried
Stephen
about
A.
this
Max,
early.
Stephen A. and Max, that's how it be. Sometimes y'all get quiet when Big Perk come on here speaking the gospel. Y'all get caught up in what I be saying and loving how I'm delivering this good gospel.
Well,
And
first of
sometimes
all-
you just got to fall back and listen. Yeah,
Well,
that's what it is.
first of all, you know better. First of all, you know better. Secondly, respect your elders. Thirdly, and more importantly, that is factually incorrect, Kendrick Perkins. I mean, the fact of the matter is you do drop a lot of science, and I love you to death. But there are some things that you say sometimes I'll be wondering about you, bro. I'll be wondering about you sometimes.
Yeah,
not
but
most, not
yeah,
all,
but I feel-
sometimes, yes.
I feel sorry for your loss. I feel sorry for your loss because you're not being open-minded. When I tell you certain things, I'm just trying to teach.
Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Stephen A., who would you rather have in the postseason? This one's tough. AD or Giannis?
AD. That's not even hard for me because Giannis has to show me he can hit perimeter shots, which he hasn't shown me in the postseason. I know AD could do that. And oh, by the way, Max, to piggyback off of KP getting on you just a few seconds ago, basically what he's reminding you of is the fact that he and I picked Miami when you picked Milwaukee because you was raving about Chris Middleton when you picked Milwaukee, and obviously that didn't prove to be correct. Now getting back to my point here. Giannis is a man-child in the regular season. But come postseason time, I say this all the time, come the postseason, teams get back on defense. They force you to be a half court. One of the reasons why we raved, and KP, you could co-sign this, one of the reasons we raved so much about Showtime with Irvin Magic Johnson, with Worthy on one wing, Byron Scott on another, Cooper trailing, stuff like that, where we used to go off about that and we loved it so much. We didn't just marvel at the Lakers and Magic Johnson because of the fast break. We marveled at the fact that the fast break never left them, no matter what defenses tried to do. Somehow, some way, because of the greatness of Magic Johnson, you could always push the ball up the court, and you were always in a track meet. And that's what you marveled about, because that doesn't usually happen. And so as a result of that, let's transition to the modern day age with the Greek Freak in Milwaukee. You don't really have a situation with Eric Bledsoe and those boys at the time where you were able to push the ball up the floor the way that you would like to, because that's when Giannis is really lethal in the open court. It's not to say that he can't do stuff in the half court, but not to the degree of his danger, of how dangerous he is in the open court. So they get back on defense, you become a half court player, and if you don't have a perimeter shot, there's nothing you can do. What makes Anthony Davis so great, inside or out, it doesn't matter. He can play with his back to the basket. He can play facing the basket. He can drive to the hole. Or he can pull up from 17. Or he could pull up from 19 and beyond. It doesn't matter. The arsenal of his offensive attack is better than that of the Greek Freak. Plus, he's a rim protector and a shot blocker and a rebounder when he wants to be. Anthony Davis is the real deal. And I would take him over the Greek Freak without question.
I understand those arguments. He's more well-rounded. Stephen A., you tend to like those kind of players in the playoffs. You like, in order of preference, KD, AD, Giannis, because that's the descending order of like how well-rounded their games are. But sometimes a dude can do certain things so well that even if they're not as well-rounded, they're more valuable. I had Andre Snellings of ESPN fame, Stephen A., who is also a neural engineer, I believe. He's like, a very, very smart guy and knows the basketball analytics on my radio show, the Max Kellerman Show, 2 p.m. Eastern, by the way, on ESPN Radio and ESPN Plus. And he was saying he'd take Giannis. He'd take Giannis, and it's not a difficult choice for him. And he said because Giannis, when you look at how he makes his teammates, Giannis, like AD can compile stats, and he's great, no doubt about it, and all the reasons you said about him are correct. But Giannis can also elevate those around him because he's an exceptional passer with court vision, because of his handles given his size. No, he can't shoot it like AD, although, again, AD's a better shooter than Giannis. Is he a way better shooter than Giannis? He's a better shooter. Giannis is a step below that, but he's not. It's not like you're talking about Ben Simmons. You got to put him in the dunker spot because he can't shoot at all. If you leave him alone, he can knock down a shot. When you look at the kind of force Giannis is on a court, right now, going back to our previous argument, you guys are being heavily influenced by the fact that you just saw AD play with LeBron. If you put Giannis with LeBron, you would say, this dude, it's impossible. Like, just like the Lakers are now, they would not lose anything if you swapped out AD with Giannis. And if push came to shove, I'm taking Giannis.
That's not true, Max. First of all, to me, LeBron and Giannis both need the ball in their hands to be dominant, meaning that they can't play off the ball. Anthony Davis could play off the ball. And Max, I don't know what analytics, and I've been on your radio show, and I love coming on there and handing you L's like I'm doing today. But if you're going to sit up here and tell me that it's not night and day between Anthony Davis and Giannis, you're tripping. Anthony Davis' skill set is something that we have never seen before. The closest thing to it was maybe Kevin Garnett, and that's my brother. I played with him. When you look at Anthony Davis, it's more to his package than just being able to shoot better than Giannis. He has a better handle than Giannis. He has better post moves. He has the wiggle. And you talk about AD and you talk about Giannis and his passing, but AD could drop dimes when he's needed to. He know how to pass out of double team. He know how to drive and kick. Excuse me, in the NBA Finals and in the bubble last season, did we not see him throwing lob after lob to Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee on big-to-big passing when he was catching the ball in the pocket pass?
Who's the better passer?
AD. Don't get it twisted. Giannis just had
better passer than Giannis? I don't think so.
More than Anthony Davis. Yes. Oh, my God. Giannis just learned how to find the corner pass this season.
Listen. I know we got to move on, but a couple of things. Number one, Anthony Davis, I believe, is a better passer than Giannis. He definitely is a better ball handler than Giannis. And last but not least, Max, just a little bit of advice because you've been doing radio for years, and I know you know what you're doing because you're a pro. But in terms of ratings, you might not want to have the analytics dudes on. That's all I'm saying. The analytics dudes don't mean anything. I mean, we respect them, but that ain't going to help you in the ratings, bro.
Excellent.
That ain't going to help you in the ratings. Not the analytics.
Hold on, we've had Andre